If you're trying to decide between North York and Scarborough, two of Toronto's most underrated suburbs, this video is going to settle it for you. Both offer significantly more space and more house for your money. Let's break it down piece by piece. There's nothing I love more than helping people and their families figure out exactly where they should be in Toronto and the GTA. So pause the video right now, write down my number, grab my email on screen and in the description, and reach out to me directly. Category 1, housing prices. Let's start with North York. Starting with housing costs, because this is usually where people start. North York is significantly more expensive than Scarborough, and the gap is wider than you'd think. Detached homes in North York vary enormously depending on where you are. The more affordable pockets, places like Black Creek and York University Heights on the west side, are averaging around $1 million for a detached home. But if you move east towards the Yonge Corridor near Shepherd and Willowdale, closer to where I grew up, you're looking at well above $1.3 million, with some streets pushing into the mid-2s and beyond. Bridle Path is also part of North York. That's where Drake lives, by the way, and it has some of the largest and most insane homes in the entire city. For renters in North York, a one-bedroom apartment is going to cost you about $2,200 to $2,500 a month. Newer buildings with amenities obviously push towards the top of that range, especially if you're near Yonge and Shepherd, the downtown of North York. Scarborough. Scarborough is where the value proposition gets really interesting. Most detached homes in Scarborough fall between the mid-800s and roughly the mid-$1.2 million range. Areas like Morningside, Woburn, Bendale average around $870,000, Malvern Rouge around $955,000, and Milliken Agincourt North around $1 million, all well below North York prices. So what does that actually mean in practical terms? Well, you're getting a detached home in the city of Toronto with a proper backyard, a garage, real square footage for hundreds of thousands of dollars less than a comparable property in North York. That difference is a renovation budget, that's your kid's education fund. The average rent for a one-bedroom in Scarborough is about $100 less per month than North York. It adds up to an extra $1,200 a year staying in your pocket. Housing prices winner. Scarborough, it's not particularly close. Parks and recreation. North York. This is where North York genuinely surprised me growing up. I grew up near Leslie and Steeles, close to A.Y. Jackson Secondary School, and there's a ravine running through that whole area. Trails, nature, that's not something you find everywhere in Toronto, and it's genuinely special. Downsview Park on the west side of North York is one of the coolest parks in the entire city. The hangar has indoor beach volleyball, floor hockey, roller hockey, and even soccer all under one roof. It's an incredible sports complex. And then, right next door, connected to the hangar, is Hoop Dome, probably the best basketball facility in the whole GTA. Scarborough. Scarborough's parks are actually underrated too. Lots of walking and running trails throughout the area, big open green spaces. If you're someone who runs, cycles, or just wants to be outside regularly, Scarborough delivers. And then there are the Scarborough Bluffs. Dramatic cliffs over Lake Ontario, gorgeous views, a completely different feeling from the rest of Scarborough, worth a drive even if you have zero intention of living there. And if you do live near or in the bluffs, the price tags reflect it. That pocket has premium pricing that doesn't fit the typical Scarborough narrative at all. Parks and Rec winner. North York. The hangar, Hoop Dome, Downsview Park, and the ravine system give it an edge, but Scarborough's trails and the bluffs are still great. Before we get into transit, quick quiz. True or false? Scarborough is only accessible by car and has no direct subway access into downtown Toronto. Drop your answer in the comments below. I'll give you the answer before the end of the video. Transit. North York. North York has excellent transit options. The Yonge subway line runs all the way through North York from Finch on the east and Downsview Park on the west, all the way down to Union Station. The Shepherd subway line also crosses east-west, the purple line, to give you some additional options depending on where you are, although it's pretty small and a limited line. And then there's the highways. The 401 running east-west just south of Shepherd, and the 401 on the east side of North York running north. And then the Allen on the southwest side of North York. For drivers, North York has quite good access in multiple directions. The honest challenge is the 401 itself during rush hour going east to west. It's consistently one of the worst commutes in the city. Scarborough. Here's where I think the biggest misconception about Scarborough lives. People assume because it's pretty far east, it must be a car-dependent area with terrible transit. That's just not the case. The Bloor-Danforth subway line runs all the way east through Scarborough. Warden, Kennedy, Scarborough Centre, McCowan. These are all subway stops giving you a direct connection into downtown without a car. There's also the Scarborough GO station right next to Scarborough Town Centre for some more options. For drivers, Scarborough has lots of the big chain plazas, wide roads, ample parking. The shopping and errands experience as a driver in Scarborough is actually really convenient. The honest challenge is the distance. It's far away from downtown. Even on the subway, it's a longer ride than from North York on the Yonge line. Transit winner, North York. The Yonge subway corridor connects it to most of the city and provides easy access downtown. But Scarborough's subway access is much better than its reputation suggests. Quiz answer. If you said false, you were paying attention. Scarborough absolutely has subway access. The Bloor-Danforth line runs all the way through with multiple stops connecting directly into downtown Toronto. Lifestyle and food. North York. This is where North York genuinely shines for a specific type of lifestyle, the food scene. Particularly, the authentic Chinese food scene, especially along the Yonge Sheppard corridor and up through Willowdale, is some of the best in the city. I grew up eating here and I'll die on that hill. The Shops at Don Mills has Congee Queen, it's a chain Chinese restaurant, and if you haven't had the deep fried turnips there, stop what you're doing now and go. Best I've had in the city. The community is incredibly diverse and multicultural. Great food options across many different cuisines, well-established neighborhoods, strong community feel. I went to public school here and grew up with friends from all over the world, which is a huge strength of North York and Toronto in general. Grocery stores are everywhere with lots of parking. The driving experience in North York is solid. You have access to real parking lots rather than the cramped underground situations or cramped streets you deal with in downtown Toronto. The overall lifestyle in North York is suburban enough to have space and feel settled, while also urban enough to have genuine amenities. That's a hard balance to find inside the city boundaries. Scarborough. Scarborough's lifestyle gets undersold constantly, and I want to address that directly. The food scene in Scarborough is quite good if you know where to look. Hakka food specifically, which is a Chinese-Indian fusion cuisine, is amazing in Scarborough. If you like Chinese food and you haven't tried Hakka, you're genuinely missing out. The shopping experience as a driver is actually really convenient. Lots of big chain plazas, real parking, Scarborough Town Centre with big box stores. The cultural diversity creates genuine food and community variety that people don't always associate with the area. And I want to be upfront about the reputation. The reputation exists for a reason. There are parts of Scarborough that have real challenges, higher crime rates in certain pockets, some areas that are pretty run down, a lot of government housing. I'm not going to pretend that's not true, but that reputation applies to specific areas, not the whole of Scarborough. And it's significantly more outdated than the current reality for most of the residential areas families would actually consider. The value proposition in Scarborough is real. More space, bigger homes, bigger lots, lower prices, and a community that keeps improving. Knowing which specific streets to target is where having a good agent who actually knows the area makes a big difference. Lifestyle winner. We'll call it a draw. Completely different vibes, serving different preferences. So, North York versus Scarborough. Here's my take as someone who grew up right between both of them. Choose North York if you want better transit access on the Yonge corridor, you prioritize park quality and the ravine system, you work in North York or north of the city, you want some of the best Chinese food in the GTA, and you have the budget for it. Choose Scarborough if value for money is your #1 priority. You want a detached home with a great lot size, and you want to keep hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pocket compared to North York. Also, if you don't mind a longer commute to downtown, and you're willing to do your research or just reach out to me to know which specific streets and pockets are safe and family friendly. And if you're trying to figure out which specific pocket in either area or anywhere in the GTA makes sense for your budget and your family, text me directly, numbers on screen, book a free call with my Calendly link in the description. Both areas deserve their own full deep dive, and those videos are coming. Subscribe so you don't miss them. New Toronto real estate content every single week. I'm Jordan Abrams. I'll see you around town.